When large jobs require moving massive amounts of snow, get the work done quickly and efficiently with the Western Pile Driver and all-new Pile Driver XL pusher plows, both featuring Trace Edge technology. These pushers scrape down to the pavement with an advanced cutting-edge system that has independent 2-foot sections that move vertically, oscillate, and trip. Get more jobs done faster with the Western Pile Driver lineup of pusher plows.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
Good morning and welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey. I'm your host, Dave Westcott. I've got with me co-host Todd Chapman and special guest, Rob Wile. Tell me I got the last name right, Rob.
Yeah, I didn't actually eat it, but that's all right, Dave. It's Wile.
I don't know how that happened. I practiced it. I prepped it beforehand.
It's just like the character there, Wile E. Coyote. Everyone says Wiley.
Okay, now I know it. Now I got it figured out. I tell you what, man, I struggle with the last names. And so I'm sorry about that. Rob is with JC Grounds, and my good friend John Crandall owns JC Grounds. And it's funny with the last names because when at the SIMA show a couple years back, when John was, giving out the awards, he had to read all of the last names.
Yep.
Exactly. And I was treasurer at the time and moving to vice chair and then chair. And I thought to myself, oh my God, I'm going to have to read all those names. I tell you what, man, for 2 years, I've been doing nothing but stressing about getting up there and reading all those last names because it's like there's like 50 awards, So I was telling Martin,
boom, boom, boom. So
it's just boom, boom, boom. So I was telling Martin, can we get it down to like 3 awards? And then can I just memorize the names? So I actually stress about getting up there on the stage and reading the names. It causes real anxiety. And the road to SIMA, we're going to be at SIMA in like 2 weeks or something.
Yep.
And we're going to see you there.
Absolutely. Yep. I'll be there.
You're going to be there. And Rob is the Fleet Resource and Real Estate Director for JC Grounds. So thanks for joining the show. There's a lot happening in Boston. You got the Celtics going on. Are you a Celtics fan?
I am a Celtics fan. 3-0 after last night.
Are you thinking it's going to be a sweep?
I hope not. I hope it comes back home. But if it has to end on the road, it'll be all right.
It's better to win than to. What did they say? A bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush.
That's right.
That's right.
Hopefully, they'll do better than the Bruins did this past season. Unfortunately.
Oh, listen.
I know.
You know that I'm a big Bruins fan.
I know you're a big Bruins fan. That was a letdown.
I'm such a big Bruins fan. I'm a huge Bruins fan. My kids are Bruins fans. I turned my wife into a Bruins fan. I love the Bruins. I'll tell you, did not expect to talk about the Bruins on the show, but at this time, because you mentioned it, I want to trade Pasternak away.
Oh, really?
I know. I'm on some Bruins forums on Facebook, and I get nothing but hated on when I say that. But I love Pasta, but I want to trade him, and I want to trade Olmark. And if I was in the coaching position, I would think that because I believe that the Canadians in the playoffs get the job done. That's what I think happens. I think Pasternak is amazing for the regular season. I think he's an amazing player. He's awesome. But when it comes to the playoffs, those guys he doesn't deliver, in my humble opinion. And we need a grinder who's going to get in there and deliver and score goals and win championships so that the Bruins can win. My views only.
Disclaimer.
What do you think about that, Rob? No, yes?
I'm not sure you could do that in this part of the country. Send him away. He's a really, really beloved player. So I'm not sure that would go well here.
Rob,
All
are
right.
you on those blogs? Are you responding back to Dave? I mean, secretly.
No, not those blogs.
Okay, gotcha.
That's what kind of fan I am. I'm in the blogs. All right. So fleet and real estate. You guys use a lot of products in your snow and ice company. Great snow and ice company, by the way. If you're checking this out and you're looking for a great provider in the Northeast, you guys currently have 3 branches, correct?
Yes, we have one in Danvers, Mass, one in Littleton, Mass, and one in Southborough, Mass. They're all about 25 miles apart, separating. That's kind of what we try to do with the branch.
So if somebody was looking to hire you guys for snow services, Northeast, what are the areas you cover? 25 miles outside of those, or?
Yeah, so we're covering right up to the New Hampshire border, basically eastern Mass, like Worcester towards the coast.
Okay.
We go all the way far south as Dedham, Norwood area, south of Boston, and we kind of stay out of the city, and we kind of just skirt around it, and then we go as far north, right up to the border of Salisbury and up through Lawrence, that type of area, Fitchburg.
Okay. And you got 3 branches spread 25 miles apart. So if you're looking for a premier snow provider in the New England market, JC Grounds, awesome company to work with, great reputation. Been doing it 26 years now, right?
I believe that's about what it is. He started when he was 14 or 15, I believe.
Wow.
There you go. Long time in the snow. And you've been with JC for 8 years.
8 years, yep.
Do you love every minute of it, or?
It has its times. Don't get me wrong. So I always tell anyone who comes into the shop who possibly wants to work, I say 95% of the time it's like a country club. 5% of the time it's probably the worst job you'll ever have when you're laying under a machine during a blizzard trying to fix it.
Trying to get it back on the road.
Get hired?
You know what? And there's a couple things running through your mind, I would imagine, at that particular point. I got to get this freaking thing fixed so I can get it back on the road. 2, I'm freezing and I hate this. And I want to get this thing back on the road so I can get these guys back to work. And I can't wait to get back to my shop. I mean, I got to imagine that's what's going on.
No. If you don't love doing what you're doing, my guys wouldn't be here myself. You got to really enjoy what you're doing, because when it's a blizzard and most people are asked to stay home, we're going out making sure that all the clients' sites are cleared and safe, and so they come in the morning 6-7 a.m. and it looks like nothing even happened. We get it all cleared out. So it's definitely not for the faint at heart. It's not for the guy who wants to work in a nice warm shop. We're all in service trucks and in our little dedicated zones, and just basically triaging anything that comes up during the event.
I love that. You know what? So I was telling somebody yesterday a couple of things. One, I was telling somebody who's, worked for me for a while, I was saying, if you don't love this, if you don't love what you do, then don't come back. Not in a bad way, but don't be here. If you don't love it, if you don't wake up and enjoy what you're doing and feel excited about the job, then don't do the job. So I love that you have that same mentality. And I'll share one other thing that I was sharing with another person. Was we were talking about fishing or something like that, and he's a commercial fisherman. And I was saying that, the thing about snow removal is, in the 20 years that I've been doing this, is I've never enjoyed a snowstorm. And I won't say I don't enjoy it, but I'm working. It's work. We know it's coming. It's forecasted. Maybe we're in a truck. Maybe we're at the office. There's a high amount of stress getting to the client sites, managing breakdowns, managing slip and fall, managing de-icer, managing all of the things that go into a snow site. And so when you see the weather coming, there's a little anxiety, there's a little tightness of the chest. We got to go. We got to make sure things go right. In the snow, nothing goes right every time. There's always issues. But it's not like oh, my work is off today because it's snowing. I'm taking a snow day. I'm going to sit in front of the fire. We're going to watch a movie. We're going to have some hot cocoa with a little splash of bourbon. None of that's happening in my world.
I'm looking forward to that day. My retirement is 9 years away, and I cannot wait. I am so looking forward to looking out the window during a snow event and just absolutely relaxing, like you say. I can't wait for that day.
That's actually, I dream about that day too. So I'm glad that we have that in common. So you guys use Fisher.
Yes, we do. Yep.
Fisher.
We Fisher plows. We use the Steelcaster spreaders. We just tried out a couple, the new Tempest Helix with the auger this past winter. And we're also the Fisher Stormbox for the snow pushers.
Okay. Now, on my side of the world, since we're on the exact opposite side of the country, we use a lot of Western. All Douglas Dynamics. It's all. It seems like it's all the same. Just
little differences, but I mean,
little tweaks, but it's
all the same.
It's pretty close. So, I like the pile driver, the Western, the little 10. I use a little 10-foot pusher box on the skid steer. Yep. On the Fisher world, that's called the Storm Box. Correct. You guys did a demo of that this year. Yep. What did you think?
We had a great demo. So we found that that particular one they sent us didn't have supports on the side wings. And so one of the recommendations I had made, you guys got to somehow incorporate a support back to the main frame because we have a lot of granite curbing. And our operators, we have great operators, but sometimes after 20 hours, you kind of forget where that granite curb is, and you might hit it a little aggressively, and it would tend to bend in the side wings. So they were great. They made I made some recommendations to them, and they're sending us out a new kit with 2 new wings on the side with the angle braces coming back. So that will pretty much prevent that from happening. And then I also had mentioned that they have springs that the shoes free float, and the springs actually stuck out further than the shoe. So when you were riding a granite curb, it would actually start wearing out the spring. So they actually tucked the spring in closer and actually made the shoe on the side of the pusher a little bit wider so that would grab the curb and not wear out the spring.
That's awesome.
They did some great recommendations. They took it, everything that I had said, and fed it to the engineers, and did a retrofit. So I'm really want to see this new one when they send it to me and get to be able to put that together and try it out again this coming winter. And then they're sending us a wing version of that pusher that they come out with this year too.
So they're a great partner to work with. I know.
Good partner.
I know. Todd's dying to ask a couple of questions because he's like, Dave, when are you going to let me talk? But I got to say, that whole thing about grinding the curbs with the side of the snowplow, the only thing that I could imagine happening when you were sharing that was I was thinking, wait a minute, that happens at the grocery store when my wife drives to the Walmart and she ain't been up for 20 hours. You know what I mean? Have you ever seen the side of her low profile? I tell her, no low profile wheels for you, man. Yeah. It's, you look at one side of the car,
the wheel wells.
That's all you see. Yeah. All right, Todd.
No, it's Rob. I mean, obviously, you mentioned, hey, I mean, obviously, it's a tough business, especially during the storm, and we talk about that experience, and we get a lot of entrepreneurs that get on the show and talk about it, their experience and their growth, how they scale up their businesses, and just in one area, no matter what the business, no matter what the industry. I mean, one always the challenges we hear about is finding good people, building your right team. What are some lessons you've learned and as a manager, as a director, and just a leader in your business? What do you look for out of a good crew member and good people? And what are some ways that you can, and some tips that you can give to our listeners?
So we live by our core values. We hire, we promote, and we also fire, all based on core values. We run on the EOS system, Entrepreneur Organizational. And so we have quarterly meetings, we do reviews, and we're constantly checking if these guys all meet their core value fits. And if they don't, we try to coach them along and try to, work on the areas that they aren't hitting on the core values. But the biggest thing is just getting buy-in to the company process. That's the biggest thing. We run a ton of processes here, very similar to like a franchise system. So you want to make sure that everybody's on the same page when you're talking the language. When we have our pre-storm meetings, everybody understands the expectation. So if someone's not willing to do drink the soup, or if the franchise model, the whole thing can run off course really quick. So we're always trying to find people that are a good core value fit for the company and enjoy snow. That's a tough one. We're a landscape company also as well, and we do use our landscape guys as guys that work in the winter. And some of those guys are great landscapers, but when it comes to snow, they're just like, this isn't for me, and they let us know ahead of time.
Yeah.
It takes a certain person to go out during a snow event and work, 18, 20, 30 hours at a time. So the biggest challenge we find, it brings anxiety to all the managers here, is trying to find all the people to fill the seats. From sidewalk guys to...
Yeah.
Go ahead, Dave.
You guys have a huge organization now, right? I mean, you've got 3 branches.
3 branches.
150, 160 pieces of equipment?
Oh, no. We're about 470.
470 pieces of equipment.
I did some math this morning because I was actually, I wasn't sure where my number was. It's 470, yeah. So between snow trucks, loaders, skids, sidewalk machines, salt spreaders, service trucks, snow blowers, brine trucks, snow blowers, there's a lot of moving pieces here.
And how big is your team?
So my team right now is myself, and I have 4 other guys.
Okay. And that service, the total team, what's the total team between all the branches and all the members?
Team, so including office, I'm going to say 55, maybe 60.
That's a lot of people.
Good size. Yeah, it's a good size.
But then you got seasonal guys.
So seasonal, it's huge.
Hundreds.
We're in the hundreds. Shovelers were probably 400 or 500 just in shovelers alone.
Wow.
Service partners, guys that bring their equipment and their operators, somewhere in the 250 range. So a lot of moving parts.
You know what? I'm feeling stressed for you. I'm feeling stressed right now. I was thinking about 500 shovelers, and I had a mini panic attack right now, because you know what, man? That's one of the hardest roles to fill. And I'll tell you what, for shovelers, we have such a hard time filling the shoveler role. It's easier for us on the operators, but I'll tell you what, to get shovelers in our market here, we're paying $35 an hour.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
For a guy to shovel a sidewalk.
Yep.
And then over 40, we're paying time and a half. Yep. And if you can complete the entire season, you get a $2,000 bonus, meaning like you didn't miss, you showed up, when you called, we answered. And I mean, it's a huge expense.
It's one of the positions where, you're an operator, or you're running a loader or a skid, or you're in somewhat of a warm vehicle, but the poor shoveler, man, that guy's in the elements the whole time, man.
He is.
It's tough.
It's a horrible role. It's a tough job. You're right.
What are some of those recruiting tactics that have worked well for you guys? I mean, you're talking 500 guys. I mean, that's so impressive.
We always did, Craigslist. We did Facebook, Indeed. But one of the things that we found last year at SIMA, the tour we went on, I can't remember the company we went to. We went to the facility, and they had a team engine, and it basically takes your hiring, you put in your ad, and it basically blasts it out all over the different platforms, and it manages it all in one area, and it's made it so much easier for hiring. So anyone who look into a team engine, it's a great program. It centralizes all your hiring and everything. All the responses come back to one spot, and it's really easy to keep track. And if they are fit, if they're not a fit, it does automatic responses. It really has been a game changer for us.
Man, that's awesome. I love it. So back to the Fisher a little bit. So you guys are bringing around, and you guys are going to be utilizing more of this storm box. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yep.
So
you're using that more.
So you felt like it was a good add-on. I like the price point. You felt like the price point was good.
So yeah, the price point I thought was really good for what you were getting. You were getting a very durable unit carbide. I call active edge or
Live trace edge. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
They're carbide, so those wear out good. They're actually coming out this fall, I was told, with a replaceable carbide shoe, which will even do better. For anyone who hasn't used carbides, we were using winter equipment carbides on our Arctic pushers. And when we changed to those, it was a hefty price point up front, but you got to look at the ROI over the life of those.
Yeah.
We're getting 7 years out of those shoes,
wow.
which is like unheard of. I was replacing Arctic shoes when I first started, probably 2 a year. Depending on how the operator operated the pusher. Since we changed to the carbide shoes, haven't touched them in 7 years. We finally had to replace some of the really early ones we got. So if you factor in the maintenance, having to replace them during an event, it's down. All that stuff just adds up to just time and money that you can save. You just put them on, you don't have to worry about them. But like I said, it's a little bit of money up front, but in the long run, you're saving a ton of time and labor.
That's an awesome tip. This is going to be a great show. Anybody who's in the snow business is learning things right now. That's really, really cool. What are some of the challenges that you've encountered growing the fleet in order to meet the demand of 710 acres of pavement, and how have you overcome that?
Oh wow, where do I start? I'm not sure. It is like running a small car dealership at this point. It really is. So just to give you guys some numbers, just in salt spreader trucks, brine trucks, personal vehicle, the manager vehicles, I'm over 150. Just in the vehicle side of it, and just that side, it's like a small dealership. I have one guy, that's all he does. It's just, we have 4-post mobile lifts that we use in the shop, and all he does is have a truck up in the air, a car up in the air, constantly servicing. It's all year long, doing that. As far as everything else, we order early. We just put our order in for our equipment for CAT. We returned a bunch of skids and loaders. We already have our order in. They're coming in September. So we've already factored in our growth. We know what our growth is going to be. Every year we strive for 20%. We plan for that. And we absolutely believe in sales that they're going to hit their 20% because we have all that equipment, pushers, and stuff coming in. So we absolutely rely on sales to hit that goal number, and we're prepared for it. And we always have one-offs in the fall as the sales come in. You may have a site that's a little more might need a special piece of equipment here or there, and we'll buy those at the end. But we try to do all the purchasing usually right after SIMA. I like to see all the new equipment and then make my decision shortly in July, and we get those orders in for what we're going to do for growth.
So SIMA's a big deal for you. You are really going there to invest and look at what's coming out, try new products, try to get that competitive edge.
So, yeah, we're always looking for the next new thing that's come out. Right now we're doing heavily on tracking our salt vehicles. We have it shows a GPS path where the truck has gone on the actual site. It tells when the spreader's on or off. So you can actually use it as a training tool when you bring your salt drivers in. You send them out on a dry run. We'll tell them to look like they're salting. So basically, they'll do a whole dry run with the spreader on, and we can see their path of motion. We can sit down with them the next day, pull that up, and show them, this is where you missed. You should have been over here. It's a great tool. It tells you how many pounds you put out. So if the guy's going too slow or too fast, you can kind of tweak them on that. So you're putting down the right amount. We're always looking for that technology, and also all that stuff helps in your slip and fall case because you're doing your due diligence. You can provide that path of motion when the spreader was on. It gives you a timestamp. It really, any of that information really helps in any slip and fall, which we all have. So,
and for the audience, what is that technology?
So that's we're going through MTS. It used to be Viasis. It's now called MTS Pro, and he'll be at SIMA as well. His name's for Kip.
That is an awesome. Cool. That is a seriously awesome take-home tip. I love it. Man, you got so much going on over there. When you're talking about this path of motion and tweaking the guys, like what I'm thinking of is, you ever seen that movie with about, it's about the Oakland A's, and it's got
Moneyball.
Moneyball.
Yeah.
You ever seen that
Brad
movie,
Pitt?
Moneyball?
Yep.
Brad Pitt. What you're reminding me of, there's a scene in that movie where he's got David Justice in the batter's cage and in the batter's box, and he's, telling him like, hey, change your hips, swing at this, don't take first base, don't take, like, there is so much that's going into that hitting coach and getting up there and being successful. And it feels like you guys are doing a lot of that with your teams, just preparing path of motion, pounds distributed, correct it, don't put so much down, put a little bit more down, so on and so forth, so that it's almost like science is what you got going on.
Yeah, it's a very lot of science. So our biggest complaint is we oversalt. So that's why we're always looking for something that can try to dial in to lessen that call from the customer saying, you guys oversalted, you oversalted. So that's why we're always training with that tool, trying to get them dialed into the proper speed you should be going, and then obviously the proper amount, and not going over the same path every time. So that's what's great about this new system. It's worked out really well.
That's great.
I love it. I got one question on the oversalt. The oversalt, I think that's one of the things. So, on social media, I'm on social media. One of the things you see is contractors blasting other contractors over. Oh, look at this. He salted this parking lot. I can't believe. Why would they put salt down? Gouging the customer. And then the next guy goes, I don't gouge the customer. I don't put down salt like that. And then, you guys salt a lot. I salt a lot. I don't know. My kind of methodology to the salt is, the way that I'm looking at it, if there's moisture in that forecast, if there's moisture on that ground, I'm salting.
Yep.
And I would rather be on the side of oversalting than didn't salt enough and have someone go out and slip and fall.
Mm-hmm.
Because the average cost of a slip and fall is $50,000.
Yeah. I think the hardest thing is educating the property manager of that, because I don't know if they're completely in tune with what a slip and fall case can cost. They always think it's on the burden of the contractor, but you and I both know when the lawyers come, they're serving everybody. So
that's right.
A simple slip and fall could cost them, 10 times more than what the snow contract cost them for the winter. You know what I mean? So, they just think you're gouging them, but you're doing your due diligence to make sure that you don't have a slip and fall there. So it's one of those things, you almost, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, type of situation. So
it's true.
It's educating the property manager. We try to do that so much, try to educate them.
That's great. I mean, you mentioned obviously some of the technology there when it comes to tracking, your guys. I mean, what are some other cool technology that either you're hearing about now or that you've seen in your experience, obviously over your time in the industry? What excites you?
That we picked up was site photos. Site photos has been absolutely fantastic. We encourage all of our guys, when whether it's a sidewalk guy, a sidewalk machine, a shoveler, or a guy in a piece of equipment, or a manager, or even my mechanics as we're driving through a site. Once they clear an area, we're just taking a quick photo, and it GPSs the photo, and it gives a timestamp, and basically any of that type of stuff. Like I said, this all has to do with your slip and fall, that you can say, hey, at such and such a time, where did that person fall? And it gives you a GPS coordinate. You literally say, hey, we were there, we were performing, we had just cleared this area, and you pass that along. that's worked out really good. LMN we use for our timekeeping. Another thing, is GPS when you go in and when you go out, when you're on site. And we're also using dash cameras on all our trucks. It's not video, it's because that gets really costly, but ours is every 15 seconds it takes a photo. So if you stitch all those together, it's kind of like a slow motion video type thing. So we added dash cameras to all our trucks just for that other piece. And we also have site cameras on the sites if the clients will allow us to put them on. Sometimes they're a little funny about doing cameras on properties.
Are you using Frost for that?
We did not. We ended up going. We had Frost originally, and then the new owners took over. We went with MTS because they include that. In the one thing I liked about it's one dashboard for your dash cams, for your salt tracking, and also for your site photos. So all that is collaborated into one main site. Made it a little easier to track.
That's pretty awesome. I used Frost. I use Frost cameras today. Yep. I love the visibility on site. We also use LMN, so we're in the LMN world, and we use site photos as well. And site photos, I think site photos is pretty much the best software out there for the check-in, check-out.
Yep, absolutely.
I think it's world class. We're using the pile driver on our equipment, and I love it. The live trace edge. We're using less salt with it. The flexing to the contour of the pavement for us has been huge. I love that. We're bringing this thing in for a landing. It's been an awesome show that went super fast. Thank you so much for being on the show. Any final words for our audience?
So I something that I live by here, and I send it back to Gene Krantz. I always tell the guys here, failure is not an option. That's just words I live by. I says to my mechanics, I'm like, I don't care if you don't fix it proper. If we can just keep the thing going till the end of the event and we'll fix it later. I kind of refer us to more like farm mechanics, because farm mechanics will fix something 10 ways the wrong way and it'll look like the oddest thing in the world, but as long as it keeps them working, that's all they care about. They'll deal with it when the season's over and they'll fix it right. But I just want to get through the event. So I live by that. Failure is not an option.
You know what, man? I love that. I gotta tell you, it was about 14 years ago. We were plowing in Albertsons, which is a Shaw's out there, and snowplow breaks. And guys like, man, I don't have anything to fix this with. End up going into the Albertsons, buying a whole bunch of those wire coat hangers. You remember those wire coat hangers? Yep. Winding them together like a braid, wrapping it around the plow, fixing whatever needed to get fixed with wire coat hangers to finish the site and get back to the next one.
Absolutely.
Failure is not an option. Todd, any final thoughts?
Just one last question for you, Rob, is just obviously SIMA's coming up. I mean, for those who may not be yet a member or may not attend, I mean, what are some encouraging words of how SIMA's helped you and just hearing about the partners that you're with?
SIMA is all what you put into it. You go with an open mind, attend all the classes that would pertain to what you need to learn or you want to learn about. And one of the best things about SIMA is just networking. It's incredible how everyone is open about their business and trying to help other guys. There's no competition in SIMA. You can really, really learn a ton just from sitting in the lunch snack and chats. Go to the sessions. The speakers they have there are great at the sessions, and then being able to ask all the vendors questions while you're there on the floor. But to me, networking while you're at SIMA is one of the greatest things you can do. Just meet new people, and you'll be able to call them later on and just bounce questions off of them and see what they're doing different that you can learn from. They ask you, and they learn from you. But I think networking is probably one of the biggest things, and just the honesty that all the people that are in that organization provide new up and coming people that want to get into business.
That's awesome. Love
that
it.
was awesome. All right. This is it. Great show. We'll be back next week, 9:15 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is The Road to SIMA. Awesome conversation. If you're looking for a fantastic snow and ice provider in the New England area, check out JC Grounds. Absolutely incredible company to work with. Awesome. Rob, you've been fantastic. If you'd like to reach out to me, send me a DM. Best place is LinkedIn. Follow me on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Check us out. We're having a great time. This is the Entrepreneurial Journey. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Dave.
Mike Bott from Frost Solutions, one of the owners of the company. What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.